welcome to another adventure of Tales from the Haggadah for the upcoming holiday of Passover, of Pesach. So I was thinking about one of my favorite moments, which happens really early on, and that's the prayer for the Kiddush, the sanctification blessing over the wine. And we say a form of sanctification, a form of Kiddush throughout this Seder on 4 cups of wine. But the first one is the biggest and the best, the most exciting. And it's kind of like a choose your own adventure prayer book Judaism moment, because at any given time there are things that you do or don't do depending on the time and the date that you're saying them. In this case, it's usually only said in the evening of the first night of Passover, and the second night if you are not in Israel. If you are in Israel, you only say it on the first night, because there's only one first night. And there are little insertions for Shabbat, which we skip this year because Passover is starting on Saturday night. But there's something else at the end that we do add instead, because we are talking about the difference between Shabbat and not Shabbat, except that it's also holiday, so it is a form of Shabbat, but it's not like the Shabbat that we have every week. Clear? Awesome. So we start off with an introduction, Savri Marnan Varabanan Varabotai, which basically just means, hello, all my wise dudes, let's get right down to it. And the reason why this particular Kiddush is my favorite is because the melody comes from this poem prayer that we say on the holiday of Shavuot, and the prayer is called Akdamut. It's this cool poem, and it's ridiculously long, but the melody is really fun and interesting. And Shavuot is actually related to Passover, which is also related to Sukkot. And at 3 different times in the year, we have 3 pilgrimage festivals that we used to go to the temple on. So that's Sukkot in the fall, and Passover in the spring, and Shavuot in the summer, which actually happens 7 weeks after the start of Passover. And we count the days and we count the weeks. That's why it's called Shavuot, Festival of Weeks. Cool beans. If you'd like to follow along with me, and you have the same Haggadah, we're on page number 5 at the bottom. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol am v'romamanu mikol lashon v'kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava. And we skip over all these little things that are in parentheses because they are for Shabbat, and it's not going to be Shabbat this year. V'titen lanu Adonai Eloheinu be'ahava moadim lesimcha chagim uzmanim lesason et yom chag hamatzot hazeh zman cherutenu be'ahava. Whoops. See, I'm so used to saying it on Friday night. Zman cherutenu mikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim u'moedei kodshecha b'simcha v'sason hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Yisrael v'hazmanim. And then, at the bottom of the page, it even has instructions for you that say, if the festival is not on Saturday night, recite the Shehechianu blessing, the prayer saying, thank you for taking me to this special time and place that we have returned to this year, or for the first time ever. But instead, if you turn the page, if the festival falls on Saturday night, add the following. So we say the prayer of Havdalah, which is the separation. Havdalah means separating between Shabbat and all the days that are not Shabbat. Except we don't say Bein Hamavdil Bein Kodesh Lechol, we say Hamavdil Bein Kodesh LeKodesh, because we're traveling from a Shabbat, a weekly Shabbat, into another type of Shabbat. It just happens to be Passover Shabbat instead of Friday night. Cool. And that's it. Wishing everybody an awesome night.